Hello, this is just a quick little video on pre-designate and a few other things I figured out about air to ground. So, still been talking about pre-designate. All the DCS manual says is do it if you have time. So everyone thinks it's just something that increases precision, and that's not too far from the truth. What pre-designate actually does is it corrects for wind or target movement. So if you had a static target with no wind, there would be absolutely no reason to use the pre-designate. What I think the pre-designate is doing is basically you hold the lock button and you get that little circle and you put it on the target and release it, and then basically once you release the lock button, it laces that target, builds a model of where the target is compared to you, and after 2 seconds it compares where your pipper is compared to the spot you pre-designated. And however big that distance is and in what direction is how much wind or target speed correction it does. And it seems to work really well. Now, I've only gotten the bombs to really work in CCAP, and even then, sometimes they are just really long or whatever. But anyways, the only way to tell if you are in CCAP mode versus CCRP is you see that bomb fall line there at the bottom of the HUD. Basically, how it works in the MiG-29, if you need more than 12 degrees pipper depression to bomb something, it's in CCRP mode. And if you need less than 12 degrees pipper depression, you're in CCAP mode. So you've got to wait for that bomb fall line to basically start moving up the HUD before you can actually drop your bombs, because CCRP is wildly inaccurate, it seems right now. In addition, one of the quirks of pre-designate is that since it relies on that spot you pre-designate, you can't really attack multiple targets in one pass at least. You know, because if you move your pipper to attack other targets, it will take that as target movement or wind and move the pipper accordingly. So yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was that as of this patch, Soviet bombs now have new fuses and are more explosive. The smallest arming delay of any fuse you can put on them is 1.8 seconds. So that's 1.8 seconds. The bomb has to be in the air before it will detonate. So if you CCAP too close to the ground, it'll hit the ground before that 1.8 seconds and not explode. So you almost have to do your CCAP dive from a higher dive angle and higher speeds, so that bomb, so the CCAP mode is triggered early enough because you need less than 12 degrees depression, and that bomb then has enough time in the air to fulfill its fusing. Basically, the other thing is just about rockets and guns. a lot simpler to use. You just kind of point and shoot, and of course, the rockets have that max range of 2.2 kilometers, and the gun even less. I noticed that you can use the manual prepare switch to fire your rockets or your gun early. However, what I figured out happens is that the pipper is only calculated for that max distance. So if you try to fire beyond range, your rockets and guns will go extremely low, which is not too bad for rockets if you're not too far from the maximum range, because, you know, they have huge spread and you can calculate, you know, you can just kind of do it by eye. But of course, with the ultra precise gun, a little bit of a different story. So that's basically it. Just the one last thing that I wanted to mention is something that I forgot when the MiG-29 released, because I learned it like long ago, is that when the laser turns on, it's on for 30 seconds. And you can turn the laser off or back on with the target acquisition symbol button depressed bind. So that's cool. You can turn the laser on and off. However, the laser has to be off for 32 seconds after it's on. So you can't use it at all for that period of time. So, you know, you might as well take your time with your gun runs. But anyways, that is basically it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.